Just wanted to show you this view ahead. Stop and pause. These are sort of the iconic things you need to try and remember when you're on the Camino. It's just this beautiful image of the path disappearing into the distance. It goes along straight and then up to the right and over the top of the hill there. It's really stunning, and just don't take it for granted, because before you know it, you'll be back at work sitting in front of a computer or whatever. Absolutely stunning. Just leave that with you for a few seconds. Good morning from a moist and rather soggy Penrith. It's almost 2 years to the day since I did my first Camino adventure, which was St. John to Santiago de Compostela. That's the Camino Frances. I covered 850 kilometers to do that. And I'm happy to say tomorrow I'm going back and revisiting. I'm not going to be doing the whole thing though. I'm just going to be doing the first section. So I'm going back to St. John and then I'll be going through to Burgos. So just under 300 kilometers. That's the plan. I'm sure many of you are asking, why are you going back? You've already done it. And 2 years ago when I did it, I didn't think I would be going back to do it. However, the Camino's quite a thing. It starts to get a bit of a hold of you and you miss it a lot. You miss being on the Camino and you think about it a lot, and then it makes you want to go back and do it again. I think it's something to do with the simplicity of life on the Camino that makes it so memorable and addictive. So when you're doing the Camino, all you really think about is walking, trying to cover the miles each day, eating enough food, keeping your fluids up, finding somewhere to sleep, trying to get some good sleep, and then you repeat. And all those other things that you're normally worrying about in life don't seem to matter that much, because you've got some really basic things just to focus on. And I think it's that simplicity that makes the Camino so appealing for myself. And the other reason I'm going back is last time I did the Camino, those first 10 days or so, I was very focused. I was quite anxious. I was very focused on just getting my head down and walking. And I don't think I really took it in properly. I was very blinkered as I was walking along. Didn't really concentrate on everything around me. Did start to relax into the Camino as I got a little bit further along. But I think there's a lot to be gained from me going back, doing those first 300 kilometers again. And this time, picking my head up and having a look around. So that's what I'll try and do. I'll do the daily reports again. People seem to enjoy that. That's the plan. I'll fly out tomorrow. Catch you soon. Hi everybody, I've made it to St. Jean Pied de Port, the starting point of the Camino. It's been long days travelling. We arrived here, the temperature's 30+ degrees this afternoon, really hot, which suggests tomorrow's going to be a really tough day. It was already going to be tough with the hills, but with the heat as well, it's going to be really hard. I'm just going to spin the camera around. So I've climbed up to a high point above the town, and it's called the Citadel, and if I spin round, you can see the town in the bottom of the valley there. That's St. Jean, mountains of the Pyrenees behind it. If I spin to this sort of direction, I think that's the way we're heading tomorrow. So those are the mountains of the Pyrenees we've got to get over tomorrow in burning hot 30-degree heat. It's going to be a long, tough day, but I'm ready for it. The only other thing to mention about today was that the journey was going fine until I got a message to say that the French train drivers were on strike. So luckily I was sat beside a couple of people on the plane that looked like they were doing the Camino, so I had a chat with them, and they had got a taxi booked, so I ended up jumping in with their taxi, sharing the cost between, there was 6 of us actually in the end. It took that route, and it actually ended up being cheaper than the price of the train ticket would have been. Winner winner, chicken dinner. Good morning, day 1 of my Camino, and it's first light. I'm just going to walk through, from the top of the town, I'm just going to walk through St James's Gate. So this is a World Heritage Site, and it marks the end of the French path where it joins the main Camino route. From here I'm just going to walk into town. So I've just spun the phone round now so you can see us walking down into St Jean itself. So lots of pilgrims just starting to set out on their route today. Everybody's trying to get away early before it gets too hot. It's really traditional cobbled streets, traditional buildings each side with shutters and things. And this sort of marks the old part of the town, and the route runs straight through this. And you probably can't tell from the film, but this is exceptionally steep. We're going down here, and that's a bit ironic because this is about the only steep downhill bit for the next 20 kilometers. Just as we come round the corner down here, we'll start to see what's known as the Pilgrim's Gate, and this marks the start of the pilgrim route. The start of the Camino de Santiago. So yeah, you can see the gate there, tower above it. I think there's a little, I don't know, I think you see a little statue of St James halfway up there. But yeah, we'll go through the gate. This marks the proper start of the Camino de Santiago, and this brings us into the bottom, where the bottom of the valley where the river is, and this is really the lowest point today. It's all going to be uphill from here. Catch you soon. Hi, 5 kilometers in, and all is going well. It's a beautiful day, it's a cracking day, and it's totally peaceful, no noise pollution at all, just birds, cowbells. It is steep, as we knew it was going to be. I don't think the pictures ever do it justification about how steep it is, but if you look at the sweat dripping off me and listen to my breathing, that probably gives you an indication of how steep it is. Oh, sweat in my eyes there. So I'm pushing on. Orison's my first stop, where it's a bit of a cafe there. About another 3 kilometers till we get there. Okay, catch you soon. Forgot to say, there is obviously some major benefits to climbing this sort of height fairly quickly. Have a look at the views already. 5k's in, amazing. Definitely missed me Weetabix this morning. That's just reminded me how tough that first section was. I knew it was tough, but that's a real reminder. Just levelled off now, and we come into a little oasis, which is the Orison albergue, where I can get a snack and a little break. So this is a really good stopping point and highly needed at the moment, I'd say. But just have a look behind me at those cracking views. This is the Orison albergue. Really is a sight for sore eyes after that little tough stretch this morning. If you look beyond it, you can see pilgrims setting off from here, and it's uphill again after this. So I'm going to get some fluids on board, some food, and then I'm off again. What a view for a coffee break. I am 17 kilometers in now. It's been too windy to film on top of the Pyrenees there. I've got a little bit of shelter now, so I'm just going to show you this. Behind me, I don't know whether you can see there, is a cattle grid. Now, as cattle grids go, this is quite a significant one, and I'll try and demonstrate why. So it's bonjour at this side of the cattle grid. Hola! Crossing the border into Spain, as well as crossing the Pyrenees. Today we came from Saint-Jean-Pied-de-Port. We're heading towards Roncesvalles. There's two routes to do it. There's a low route that goes by the main road, and then there's the main popular route over the Pyrenees, and that's called the Napoleon route. So that one's one that most people want to do and choose to do. Obviously there'll be times of the year when it's not possible because certainly winter it's closed for much of the winter. Yeah, the distance between Saint Jean and Roncesvalles is 24 kilometers roughly, but the elevation, its highest point is about 1,400 meters. That's probably as big as anything in the UK, I think. Ben Nevis is around that, I think. But even when you get to that high point of this route and you look around you, there's still mountains towering over you, so it just shows you how big the Pyrenees are. And the actual elevation that you climb walking, this day's walking, is around that same number as well, about 1,400 meters of elevation. So it's no wonder me legs a little bit sore, muscles aching, and I'm feeling my hips a little bit. Hey, all good though. Albergue, Roncesvalles. View here. It's a massive former monastery. It sleeps 200 pilgrims, so surely there'll be a place. Let's go and see. Better angle of the Roncesvalles albergue. So first light again, I'm leaving Roncesvalles, and there it is in the background. I'll put a couple of pictures, put a couple of short videos on of the accommodation itself. Roncesvalles means Valley of the Thorns, apparently. The obligatory selfie with the Santiago de Compostela sign, very famous. Everybody has a photo took with it, so I'm joining the crowd. Hi everybody, day 2, well underway, 9 kilometers in. Started at first light again this morning. First light's about 7:30, so it's not that early. Everything's going well, feet are okay. I have got a bit of a niggle left knee side, but just ploughing through that really, to be honest. Looking behind us at the Pyrenees, there are some dark clouds looming over the Pyrenees, and the weather's due to change tomorrow, so I might plan on doing a slightly longer walk today, which means I'll hopefully have slightly less to do when it rains tomorrow, so we'll see how it goes. Just going to try and pick out some of the highlights of today. So this little stepping stone construction to get across the water here. Right, I must watch the stepping stones, not the camera, to get across here in one piece. All good. First thing, while I remember, once I went over those stepping stones, I stopped to eat a banana, and there was lots of other pilgrims crossing, and this little South Korean chap managed to fall off the stepping stones. No injuries, just his pride, I think. Just wanted to sort of say about the walk now. I'm coming up 17 kilometres into it. It's been mainly woodland trails today. It's been really calm, really tranquil, peaceful, beautiful walking conditions. Hot sunny day again, but you've got the shade of the trees most of the time, so all's good. Several villages we've gone through, they're all so pretty, the villages around here. They're all really well maintained, pristine, clean, everything's tidy, no litter. So nice to see places like that. And there's virtually no litter on the Camino route itself, certainly at this point. So all good, just cracking on. Just had a really tricky descent down from the hills down into Zubiri. It's really steep, there's a lot of water erosion on the paths, so it's really tricky on they're really challenging rather on the ankles, toes, and it's certainly those steep down hills that seem to be aggravating my knee. But we're down now, we're just coming over the bridge into Zubiri. Really pretty. So I'm going into Zubiri, I'm going to have my lunch here, and I'm going to decide whether I stop here, or more likely I'm going to push on and get a little bit further. Here. Yeah, more likely I'll try and push on, get a little bit further. I'm going to do the miles today while the weather's really good, because tomorrow we've got rain forecast, so we'll hopefully be able to do less tomorrow if we do more today. Morning, day 3, well underway now, 5 kilometres in. What a storm we had last night, what a thunderstorm with torrential rain overnight. But it seems to have cleared up a bit today. Today I was expecting rain, it's been dry so far, so really pushing on to try and cover some miles before the rain does arrive. All good so far, I'll update you shortly. So I did end up staying in Zubiri yesterday, looked at the options, and it looked like I couldn't guarantee myself accommodation if I continued on the route. On top of that, it got really hot yesterday afternoon, way plus 30 degrees, and so I decided the sensible option was just to stay at Zubiri where I knew I could get accommodation. The heat did really build up yesterday afternoon, and then the wind started to push in clouds, and it created a massive thunderstorm last night. Torrential rain, thunder and lightning. I was tucked up in bed though in my top bunk. One thing I have decided though, there's a certain age you get to where top bunks are not appropriate, and I'm at that age now. God, it's hard work. Catch you soon. So following the Camino couldn't be easier. You follow the signs, which are everywhere. So there's official signs like that. And if we go down here, again, you just look for the yellow arrows on there. And you can even see one here, yeah. Yellow arrow painted on the, well, they're painted everywhere, on the road, on the walls, on the trees. So this morning's been mainly a riverside walk for much of the morning. All's going well. Had one shower of rain, so I just sheltered under a tree for 10 minutes. Got my coat on and the covered from my waterproof cover for my pack. But other than that, it's all good. We're heading to Pamplona Got another 7k to go to get there, so we'll report back soon. And in the darkened underpass, I thought, oh God, my chance has come at last. But then a strange fear gripped me and I just couldn't ask. Gotta love Bill Smiths. I've just been walking through the suburbs of Pamplona now, coming into it. Still following the yellow arrows. There's a little cobbled bridge here to go over. Oh, she's beautiful. It's a little steep. The murky waters after the storms last night. So yeah, a little bit about Pamplona. Didn't realise Pamplona's got a population of about 200,000 people. So that's bigger than Carlisle, I think. It's a university city and it's a very busy, bustling place. So Pamplona is one of those historic walled cities. It really is impressive to see. I'm just going to wander up here and go through the gates. Just go across the drawbridge and into the outer gate. Then through the main gate from the outside the city walls into the city itself. And from here, there's literally a network, it's a real metropolis in there, a network of tight, narrow streets, very built up, very highly populated, and a very bustling little area. Obviously, Pamplona is very famous for bullfighting and the bull running. This is a bullfighting stadium. I'll see if there's a proper word for it, but that's what I'll call it. This is what Pamplona is famous for. The running of the bulls. Got this massive statue depicting the annual event, which takes place in July each year. Just get the same thing from the other side. Can't say I'm a big fan of the running of the bulls, although I do like it when the bull wins. So day 4 on my way out of Pamplona. Came out, the streets were all wet. I thought, oh no, it's raining. But actually it was street cleaners and all the streets are being cleaned before the start of the week. The other thing to say is it's just the same in town as it is out in the countryside following the yellow arrows and things, but it's far more difficult in town. There's that many things to take your attention rather away from the signs and things that it's really easy to miss them, so I'm going to have to concentrate on what I'm doing. Catch up shortly. Well, that's quite traumatic. Busy streets, looking for signs, trying not to get lost, trying not to get run over. We're out into more of a parky type area now. At the moment following these, which are literally every few meters. I think even I can manage that. And out of Pamplona. First target for today is now in sight. So where the land meets the sky there, on the top of that ridge, you can probably see, hopefully, there's lots of wind turbines up there. So and that's where the monument is, the Alto del Perdon. Now it's really nice and beautiful up there, and it makes me feel, it's really when I feel as though I'm on the Camino when I get up there. It's fantastic, and the view beyond that ridge, it looks across the Spanish plains. And I'm telling you all that now because when I try and film up there, it's going to be really windy because it always is up there. But if I tell you that now, I'll just put the camera on and spin round while I'm up there, There's lots of iron structures depicting pilgrims throughout the ages, from medieval times right through the Middle Ages and to present day. So I'll just switch the camera on up there and probably won't talk. Okay. Well, we've made it up to Alto del Perdon, where the way of the wind crosses the way of the stars, or so they say. There in the distance is Pamplona, where we came from. A long steep drag today. Horse coming up the hill at the moment. Just let the horse go past. Hola. Hola.
My Camino.
My Camino. And up here we've got the steel monument which depicts the pilgrims throughout the ages. So there's the modern day pilgrims, and as we go along the line there, pilgrims throughout the ages to the Middle Ages and beyond. So along the ridge you can see the wind turbines stretching as far as the eye can see, and over the other side of the ridge onto the Spanish plains as far as you can see. What a stunning view that is, and that's where I'll be heading next. All sorts of weird structures and monuments en route. It looks like this one I've got to walk right through. Right, breathe in. Oh, pull the neck. Ouch. Made it nearly in one piece. So stopping in Pietra la Reina tonight. Historic little town. They're all historic little towns that the Camino goes through. They've all got these narrow, tall, cobbled streets right in the old part of the town. So there's a really big thing about this town is it's got a really historic bridge, but I'll show you that tomorrow. Doors open, so while I'm passing, I'm just going to pop into this church and show you. Obviously religion's a really big thing on the Camino for a lot of people, and certainly for those who live in this part of Spain. And every church, or every town rather, seems to have a church, and they're all equally splendid and grand inside and covered in gold. That's my prediction. I'm sure Pietra la Reina is no different than anywhere else, but let's have a look. This little sign says it all really. It tells you where you are, if you're on the Camino, the direction of Santiago, and how far you've got to go. That's all you really need to know. So tonight's albergue. So €9. That's equivalent to £7.86. Bargain. Right, good morning, day 5. I'm just leaving Pietra la Reina and I'm now crossing this historic, magnificent bridge. It really is beautiful. It's first light, so obviously you can't see much at the moment, so I'll put a separate images on that I took yesterday. Just a little bit about the bridge. It's known as the Queen's Bridge. It was specifically built to aid pilgrims crossing the river here. It's a really long span, really high peak. Point of the bridge, I think it's got 6 arches. Probably see them better in the other images. And the other thing about the river, this river is the same river that we crossed the little bridge in Zubri. It's that same river 40, 50 odd kilometres further down the line. So just as you leave Pietra la Reina, there's this massive ancient bridge, and I'm not sure this image is really going to do it justice. The scale of it is enormous. You can see how far it is from one end to the tip, middle. point of the bridge. And at this high point, it's looking back into Piente La Reina. If you look over the bridge, I don't even like to look over it, it's such a long drop into the water there. Beautiful sunrise behind me this morning, absolutely amazing. But if I spin the phone around, there's some very ominous dark clouds ahead. So we'll see how it goes. Not much shelter in this direction either. I'm sure I can shelter in a cafe though, we'll be fine. So when you're walking on these Spanish plains, there's nothing for quite a distance, and then you can see these little towns pop up from nowhere as such. And you can see them in the distance there, and they look close, but it seems to take ages to get to them. So I can see a town there, probably my breakfast stop, but I bet it's further away than I'm thinking. Already done 6k this morning, it's all going fine. Nearly there, looks beautiful, but the black clouds are behind it. And this is also what I love about Spain. Coffee, tuna butty, banana and a cake. About $4.50, something like that. Amazing. The route seems to be taking us through this little alleyway. Right little network of narrow little streets in this place. Just keep following the sign. Good morning. Now on the positive side, those dark clouds seem to have blown over. Blue sky starting to show. All looking good. Sunshine and blue skies. All is good. Lovely little arched pathway ahead. Here we are next to a main road. Every now and again, just little beautiful bridges pop up from nowhere. So we're heading towards Estella, which is going to be my stop off point tonight, hopefully. It's a good opportunity to bring you up to date with a few things. Firstly, health check. A few sniffles, but generally feeling good. Aches and pains of all the joints and things have pretty much gone now. And feet are in tippity-top condition, no problems at all. Walking boots and trainers both fitting really well and feeling great, no problems at all. Weather-wise, the first couple of days of this Camino were really hot, into the low 30s. Last few days it's dropped way down, it's struggling to get up to 20 degrees even in the sunshine. So it's probably about 15 degrees lower than it was when we started. And although it's lovely in the sun, it is actually quite chilly in the shade, and there's a little cheeky breeze. It's got quite a little nip to it as well, so it's feeling quite autumnal, but I would say that's absolutely fine for walking, and it's perfect. Seems like a nice place for a picnic. Very close to Estella now. Got to tromp over this bridge, very steep. Holding tight onto my phone, so I drop it, it is gone. Few sights and sounds of Estella. Lovely Estella. It's worth the wait, believe me. Early start this morning as I'm leaving Estella. Lovely little archways. I leave the old town as such. It is a little bit dark, but I'm hoping I'm in the street lights for Stella for the first 20 minutes or so, so should be light enough that I can see. Cracking on today, plenty of good things to see today. It's very early, day 6, but we're virtually at the wine fountain. So cracking on up here. Just a little secret, I knew it was going to be dark when I came to the wine fountain, and I was very close to it yesterday. It's only 2.5 kilometres away. So I popped up yesterday and got some good pictures at the blacksmith's shop next to the wine fountain and the wine fountain itself. So, morning. Speaking of the blacksmith shop, good morning. Oh yeah, let's get a stamp. So the blacksmith stamped my Camino passport, and he also told me to slow down and enjoy the Camino. I'm a fast walker, so a lot of people say that to me, but I have my head up high and I'm enjoying it and taking it all in. So outside the blacksmith's shop, there's this beautiful tree crafted out of steel, metal. Amazing. This is the blacksmith's by the wine fountain. So now just going up to the wine fountain itself, provided by the Burgos wine producers. And here it is, free wine for the pilgrims as they pass. Great gesture by the company and very much appreciated by all the pilgrims. As I said, I popped up yesterday and had a nice glass of wine because I knew it would be impossible to film at this point. You know me, never want to miss an opportunity. I'm back at the wine fountain and very much looking forward to a little glass of red. Cheers everybody. Bien Camino. So in the distance there's a hill, and I don't know whether you can see, but right on the top of that hill there is a castle, the mountain fort. Now last time I remember I stayed in a village at the bottom of that hill, but I was too tired at the end of the day, my feet were too sore to explore up that hill. I'm going to see how I feel when I get to that point, and if I feel up to it I might do a little detour up the hill to the top to get some good views and things, but we'll see how I feel when I get there. Well, me and my mate here are just contemplating whether to go up this hill or not. There's the effort, risk, reward. There's also the mad dogs and Englishman. He's suggesting I go, but he says he can't make it because his knees are a bit stiff. Well, let's do it and see what happens. Any excuse like, innit? Oh, so steep. Almost there. I hope this view's worth it. Oh man. Yes, I'm almost there. Last few steps to the castle itself. I took a sensible option and left my bag at the bottom, hid it behind a tree. I'm just hoping I can remember which tree I hid it behind. Sneak preview though. View is cracking. So this is the view in the south and the east where I've come from. Way over there in the distance is the Pyrenees somewhere. village I've just climbed to the castle from, and this is the view to the north, on over to the west, and this is the direction we're heading into from here onwards. Day 7. Long day ahead today, 30 odd kilometres on the way to Lograno, but I just wanted to show you early on, look at the beautiful sunrise occurring behind me. Fantastic start to the day. Here comes the sun, here comes the sun, da 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 da. Just over 10 kilometres in now this morning, all going well.
It's beautiful that they remember. It's like
All these little structures being built by pilgrims who've gone by. Lots of little mementos left from the trees here. There's lots of little areas like this along the route where people leave mementos for loved ones who've passed, things, that sort of thing, to remember them on the trail. Lovely views again. So we head in. Don't think see just in the distance there's a church and a little town. I suspect that's the next town we head into. Looks a little way off at the moment though. So that little town that was way in the distance is very close now, less than a kilometre to go, and that's going to be my lunch stop. I'll just scan over to the left here. Between those trees, you see the sprawling town of Lograno. So I think that's where I'm heading this evening for accommodation. Another 10 kilometres ahead for that. My lunch stop for today, Vienna. I'm sure you're all aware that this town was made very famous in the 80s in a song via Midua and Ultravox. Oh no, that was Vienna. Falls for Tumbleweed. Vienna really is a beautiful little town. I remember I stayed here during my last Camino, stayed the night here and explored it a little bit. It really is beautiful. But no time to explore today, we're cracking on off towards Lograno. Now a lot of this section hasn't been particularly pretty, but this little area, the path rather going through a wooded area, is particularly pleasant. A splashy just to give you a little bit of a brief break from the hot midday sunshine. Cracking a little bit that. So we're just crossing out of Navarra region into Rioja region. I think that calls for a little cheeky red wine tonight. Just starting the descent into Lograno. I know I sound like a pilot, don't I? Prepare for crash land. Yeah, Lograno. Thursday afternoon. Quite lively. Actually, I think there's a wine festival starts this weekend. I'm just gearing up for that. Early morning, day 8. I'm just walking by some big dice, as you do, on my way out of Lograno. Quack quack, good morning Mr. and Mrs. Ducks. How's your day going? Squirrel on the chair there. Don't know whether you can see it. Yeah. Very red little squirrel that. Look at that. So 6 kilometres in, came out of Lograno, Found my way, followed the signs. It's always tricky coming out of the big towns. I have to say Logreno was excellent. Had a really lovely afternoon in the central area. There was lots going on, lots to see, and just spent the afternoon taking in the sights and the sounds. So you can see behind me now, I'm walking along a dam. And if I just spin round this way, you can just see lots of misty sort of steamy stuff coming off the water in the distance there. All going well though. Finally getting a chance to show you the sun coming up beyond the trees there. Because I've been in the trees so much this morning, I haven't really had a chance to show you that yet. But yeah, it's going to be another beautiful day. The sun is out and blazing again this morning. It's quickly burned away any morning chill. It's going to be a fantastic day on the Camino. Well, that certainly looks like breakfast stop to me. Coming up 11 k's in, all going well. So the lovely and very quaint Navarrete. I remember Navarrete last time. It's one of the places I stopped at last time. I also remember there's no eating places for about 15 kilometers after this, so I need to stop and get something to eat now. So this looks like what I'm going to be doing just here, I think. Food and fluid on board in Navarrete, and now heading from there towards Najire, which is hopefully going to be my accommodation stop for tonight. Still quite a long way to go to get there, good 15 kilometers, so just cracking on really. So yesterday in Logreno, I popped into the tourist information, and there's a little sort of exhibition about the region, the Rioja region, and the wine producing. And it had a simple animation about how they grew the grapes with the sunshine and the water. They picked the grapes, they picked the harvest, they crushed and squeezed it to get the grape juice, and they fermented that to make the wine. And all a great big party at the end of it basically. And it took about 10 minutes, that film, and it took me back to Dublin and Ireland, and it's a very similar process, very basic, but the Guinness plant managed to make that story last about 3 hours. I like the 10-minute version in Logreno, it's better to be honest. So as I said yesterday, we crossed into Rioja, and the region is famous for these lovely grapes. There's lots around here. And the lovely Rioja wine that they produce from those grapes. So there's right and left and forwards, wherever you look, there's grapevines and covered in grapes at the moment. Now I have to say, 2 years ago when I was passing at the same time, they were absolutely laden with grapes. They're certainly not bad around here, but I'm no expert in grape farming. But the yield, I would suggest, is less this year than it was 2 years ago. I might need to revise my comments about the grape yield, because these ones are absolutely laden. This is how I remember it. I've just tried a couple of grapes, and oh my life, they are so sweet. Oh, to die for. I hope you can see ahead there, that's a south-facing slope. As you scan across it there, you can see lots of lines, almost stripes of green lines, and those are all grapevines. Definitely Rioja region. Absolutely smashing it today. That's 26 kilometers just done, and we're still a couple of minutes under 5 hours, so that includes a 15-minute breakfast stop. It's been one of those tracks where you can just it's not too hilly or anything like that, you can just crack on and get into a nice rhythm with it, which I have done. Just crossing a bridge into the old parts of Najara now, so hopefully going to find an albergue somewhere to stay up here. Fresno. Good morning, day 9. Slightly tricky getting out of Najara this morning. It's still a little bit dark, street lights weren't great. It's hard to spot the yellow arrows on the beigey coloured buildings and things, but soon sorted that out. About 5k's in now, just coming to an hour, and the sun's starting to poke up over the hill behind me there. The other thing to say, Najara marked 200 kilometres of the route, the Camino Frances, that's Saint Jean to Santiago de Compostela, so the quarter distance. Obviously I'm just going to Burgos, so I've got about another 100 kilometres to go, but good progress on track with all that. Sun's up, going to be another cracking day on the Camino. Good example of today's walking, dusty trails with farmland each side. It's arable now. Earlier there's a lot of grapevines again. Don't know if you can see ahead, so the track's going straight on, then it bears to the right, and can you probably see it just trailing up the hill over there. It's got a little bit of a hill to go up by the looks of it. One thing to bring you up to date with, slight negative. A couple of days ago I was eating, enjoying the crusty Spanish bread, and I felt something happened with a tooth that wasn't good, and I was aware of a crack in that tooth for a little while. Well, this morning while cleaning my teeth, or trying to gently clean my teeth, a great big chunk of one of my molars has fallen off. I'm pleased to say it's not causing any pain, there's no real sensitivity at the moment, but it just makes eating hard at the moment, so I'm having to just eat on the opposite side of my mouth and having to be really careful. I'm hoping I can make it home next week without having to seek dentist advice over here, but we'll see how today goes. Every now and then it's always a good thing to stop, turn round and have a look back at where you've come from, because half the stunning scenery is behind you, not just in front of you. Fantastic that. Just coming to the next village. There are these big monuments, they're everywhere. Breakfast at the Rioja Alta Golf Club this morning. Very posh in here. Looking very pristine and green out there. My in-laws would love it here. Well, the golf bit, not the walking bit. Chaps just let us come out and have a look at the golf course. It's looking absolutely stunning. I'm very tempted, honestly, to go and have a game of golf today. But I've got more miles to make. I really enjoyed that little breakfast stop at the golf club. It's nice to do something different than the standard Spanish cafes. 17k in, we're on our way to Santo Domingo. That's the planned stopping point for this evening's accommodation. Just wanted to show you this view ahead. Stop and pause. These are sort of the iconic things you need to try and remember when you're on the Camino. It's just this beautiful image of the path disappearing into the distance. Goes along straight and then off to the right and over the top of the hill there. It's really stunning, and just don't take it for granted, because before you know it, you'll be back at work sitting in front of a computer or whatever. Absolutely stunning. Just leave that with you for a few seconds. It's always good to check out that view behind you as well. Looking good. "19k's in now, and ahead of us is the destination, Santo Domingo. Now, it's a relatively short day, I think it's only 21, 22 kilometres in total. So we're going to arrive there incredibly early, but I don't want to push on beyond that. I could, but I haven't got that many kilometers to do, and so there's no point in me pushing on. There's nothing to be achieved by that, so I'll try and secure some accommodation. We'll get set up and we'll explore the town a little bit. Happy days. Another beautiful monument over there. Zoom in. Local football ground by the looks of it. Not bad, to be fair, not bad at all. Just coming into Santo Domingo, another different type of monument structure. Still following these arrows, making them extra wide so I can't miss them a bit. And now down into the old town. So find an albergue. Well, I've got a bed, but I have to admit it's a bit grim, this one. That's mine. Not a lot else in this room. It is what it is, it's somewhere to sleep. So I've had a lovely afternoon exploring Santo Domingo, and in particular the cathedral, which is that building, and the clock tower, which is that building. And the clock tower has a museum attached to it as well. You can climb right up to the top, and there's loads of bells up there as well. So yeah, it's really been a lovely afternoon, and you get a pilgrim's discount for only €5 to visit both. And I also remember from my last Camino being told that a town called Carrion, which is much further down the Camino route, was the centre of the bell making for all these towers and these clock towers and things. It's a bit of a bell and clock tower sort of mechanism museum here at Santo Domingo, based around the current bell tower, which I'm about to climb. A few more bits and bobs here. I'm not surprised, because literally every town we go through has a big bell tower, clock tower in the centre of it, and you can hear it chiming across the countryside. Old clock workings, sort of a museum in the tower, the clock tower. Climbing up the 134 steps to get to the top of this clock tower. I know that because I've done it earlier today. I love this little bit where you can listen to the ticking of the time in the clock tower. Oh, ready for quarter. The 4:45 little mechanism that sent the bell ringing upstairs, and the last little flight of steps up to the biggest bell straight ahead. But we are surrounded by other bells up here. 15 minutes to the 5 o'clock chimes. It's just gone 5 o'clock by my watch, so I think this clock tower is a little bit behind the time, but we should be getting the chimes at 5 o'clock shortly. Let's wait and see. Here we go. Hanging up there. Oh well, we finally caught it. And a cracking view over the town and the hills beyond. Very beautiful entrance door to the cathedral in Santo Domingo. Now I know cathedrals are not for everybody, but I always look up in a cathedral and marvel at the architecture it takes to keep these roofs up. It's amazing. Morning, day 10 of my Camino, and it's Sunday the 28th of September, so that means it's my son Luke's birthday, 25 today I believe. We'll catch up next weekend, Luke, when I'm home. Yeah, so I'm 6 kilometers in this morning. I was quite happy to get out of the albergue, if I'm honest. One of the more meagre albergues I've stayed in, and it wasn't particularly a welcoming place, if I'm honest. I've since found out it's attached to the monastery and run by the nuns, so that probably gives you an indication why it's kept quite meagre and things. Having said that, they were certainly up to date with the price. I was paying a full 15 euros for that one, which is as much as I've paid at most places, to be honest. So it is what it is. We'll try and get something a bit better tonight, hopefully. On the positive, because I didn't really want to spend the afternoon in the albergue, it did encourage me to go out and explore, and I had a lovely afternoon in the cathedral and up the clock tower and the attached museum. Just coming into the first village of the day, Granon. Again, lovely little bit of artwork on the walls. Santiago is still 564 kilometers away. Another thing to say is that it's Sunday, and Sundays in Spain, you've just got to be a little bit careful because not many places open on a Sunday, and if they do, their hours are very limited. So you've got to be careful and make sure you've got sort of food in your bag and things, unless you could very easily be left hungry and without anything to eat. There's literally nothing open, certainly in the more rural places. Well, that was very nice. One of the pilgrims just popped out, had some biscuits, offering them a pilgrim gift, pilgrim bonus. Just a little cinnamon biscuit. My Camino. Lovely view of the way ahead. So it follows off to the right there. Then it's going to take a left and right across that ridge. As I said yesterday, always remember to turn around and have a look behind you. Again, lovely view out there. I don't know whether you can see just above that peak to the left there, there's 3 balloons in the air. So this is where we leave Rioja and into the next region, Castilla y León. Next region, here we go. So the vast majority of the Camino is in this current region. It extends beyond Burgos and way beyond León too. It's a massive region, and then the final part of the Camino is in Galicia, which is known for its wet climate. Coming up 10 kilometers in today, and that's about the point I like to start looking for some breakfast. So just coming into a little town there, hoping I can get something there. However, it is a Sunday, and there's certainly no guarantee that places will be open in rural Spain on a Sunday. Another nice steel monument for the Camino. So I did get a nice little coffee stop at the last little village. Nothing fancy, but just what I needed. Coffee and a croissant. So over recent years and decades, the Camino has been rediscovered by the population of the world, really, and it's become quite busy again. There is also obviously negatives with that sort of commercialisation of the Camino, and one of them is this road that we're walking by. So I've been by these main roads all morning, really, certainly never out of the vicinity of the main roads, and obviously for the infrastructure and things to cope with this influx of the Camino, the negative impact has been the building of roads, and we've been seeing some further construction of roads going on just before the last village actually as well. So it's part and parcel of it. So there will be sections of the way that are near to main roads. They're not excessively busy, the roads, I have to be honest, but it does detract from it very slightly. literally, as I mentioned in it, more construction of roads going on. It's a new bridge. The road each side of it hasn't even been constructed yet, but the bridge is there. Got to love the design of that gable end. I can't even imagine where to start with that. Impressive. Now that's a proper stack of big bales. Got a few wagon loads there. Those bells started chiming just as I was going through that lovely little village. I need to get the guidebook out, work out which way they want me to go here. A little bit of light cloud today, not the bright sunshine of the last few days. Having said that, it does feel considerably warmer today, so I think it is just heating up a little bit. All set good for the next few days though. Dusty path by main road. That sums up today. Lots of lovely artwork on the Camino, and Belorando is no different with this beautiful mural on the side of a building. Pretty stunning that. Just been to the tourist information office behind me there. Asked about supermarkets on a Sunday. She just laughed at me. Rude. Well, today's albergue looks much more appealing. I think this will be where I'll be staying tonight.
Ouais, bah écoute, vous lui donnez ses comprimés le matin, les cartes là?
Yeah, much more confident about this one. And today's albergue is a much improvement from yesterday's. A picnic area through here. We've even got a little pool. Not that I'll be going in there, to be honest. And brother Adrian taught me through this. I don't even know what type of car it is. Almost says BMW there. Pebble dashed. Whatever. I don't think it'll catch on. Just as I'm coming out of town, there's these little bronze footprints, handprints and little signature, and they're all different and they're pointing the way basically. Good morning, day 11 on a grey and dreary Monday morning. It literally could be the UK. Walking a nice little bridge here. Another lovely little mural, literally pointing me in the right direction. And it sort of continues around the corner here. Now I'm only 50 kilometres away from beautiful Burgos, the end destination of this current Camino for me. The end is in sight, as they say. I've just spun the camera around to show you that actually it isn't really in sight yet, because between here and Burgos there is a considerable range of hills to cross. So that's the range of hills in front. So that 50 kilometres is easily doable with 2 tough days walking. However, I've decided to split that 50 kilometres and do it over 3 days. So I'm having a short day today, a long day tomorrow over the hills, and then a short walk into Burgos on Wednesday morning. So I should get into Burgos nice and early Wednesday morning, nice and refreshed, so I've got energy to explore the city and things. There's a couple of other reasons why I've decided to do a short day today. Firstly, it's going to be quite murky on top by the looks of it, so I don't want to be up there in all that murk. And secondly, at the bottom of the hills at this side, there's a really nice albergue that I stayed at last time, so I'm just hoping I can get a bed there and then that'll set me up just to be nice and refreshed when I go up the steep climb tomorrow morning, and I can attack that quite quickly. So far on this Camino, I've very much stuck to the guidebook and the suggested routes for each day and the suggested stopping points. So today I'll be obviously breaking away from that. And when you're stopping at the suggested points, obviously a lot of others are stopping at those points. So those people who I've walked with for the majority of the way until now, they'll be sort of moving ahead of me today, and I'll be dropping back a little bit. But that's fine. It's funny, we've got into a bit of a routine with all these pilgrims that I see each day at the moment. So most of them set off before me in the morning. I set off when it gets light, but I walk quicker than them. So literally every day I overtake most of them and say hello as I go past. And it's become a little bit of a running joke that they see me each day overtaking them. Even the sunflowers looking a little bit sad that there's no sunshine today. And Santiago de Compostela, only 550 kilometres away. 11k in, and if I look over the sunflower field there, Villafranca, where I'm hoping to stay tonight, is now in sight. So it seems ridiculously short day, 11-12 kilometres to say. But if you look on the hills up there, you can start to, well, I can start to see how steep a climb that is going to be tomorrow. And they're in the clouds at the top of those hills at the moment, so I've got no desire to go any further today. So Villafranca Monte de Loca, or something like that. There's the beautiful big hotel. It's got the little albergue attached. Please let there be a room. Thank you. Yes, I'm in. So from the lovely big hotel and the outside bar area, come up the hill, over the little moonlight bridge into the attached albergue. Leave your shoes on the rack. About the first one in, get in. Around the corner. Into your little albergue room. Nice. Single beds. And right at the end here is my little bed for tonight. With some roses above. So it's only just on 12 o'clock, and that's me all checked in, settled in at this lovely albergue in Villafranca. So there's a whole day ahead of me. Now, I've never wanted to waste time like that, so I have a cunning plan. So in the guidebook, there's a little bit of a road to nowhere sort of route. It sort of goes along 2 kilometres along to a little village, and then it says if you continue beyond there and you don't mind a bit of a gill scramble to climb up, there's a lovely view of a reservoir eventually. I mean, that sounds like my sort of thing. What could possibly go wrong? Well, I've come to the end of the road as such, as it said I would. There's a big old building, probably some religious type building, I would say. It sort of says go on beyond here and up the gorge for a bit of a scramble, but it didn't say there was 2 different roads. Eeny, meeny, miny, mo. So it says 300 metres beyond the chapel there is a little bridge. This would appear to be said little bridge. Also says about a fountain somewhere. So I'm just going to have a little scan round and see if I can find a fountain. Yeah, I think this is definitely the fountain. Very tranquil around here actually. This is lovely. Just a little pool of water. It's swimming down and back into the river. It also says for the more intrepid, another kilometre up the gorge. Well, Intrepid's my middle name. This looks to be up the gorge. Here goes. Actually, my middle name's Kevin, which is probably more apt to be. So I've come up the gorge, like it said, and why is there always two options? That way, or that way. It's a cracking little footpath going through the forest. I hope I'm going in the right direction. Give it another couple hundred metres. If I can't see this reservoir, I'm going to have to turn back again. Where I've come from, the gorge, the gill, where I'm heading to. Top of that hill, if I can't see a reservoir, I'm turning round. Dam, or lack of a dam, certainly no reservoir. Plan B, try any other route, equally beautiful. Let's see if there's a reservoir at the end of this one. Well, I'm gutted. I've had to admit defeat. I can't find a reservoir. How can I not find a reservoir? It's not as though it can be hidden behind a tree or something, can it? Unbelievable. But I've tried the options and I've just had to give up. So I'm just going to enjoy my picnic here. I'm back where that lovely fountain is. I'll have my picnic here and think about where that reservoir can possibly be. I have failed on the reservoir, but it was worth it just to see this fountain. So tranquil. So I'm back safe and sound in Villafranca. A couple of things. Firstly, the guidebook said a round trip of 4.6 kilometres. I've done nearly 10 kilometres. Secondly, I can't wait to upload my Strava to see if there's any evidence of that reservoir on there, see how close to it I actually got. Day 12. Very eerie start this morning. We've been climbing for a couple of kilometres now up into these hills. It's just becoming first light, but as you can see it's like heading into the clouds. So it's very murky up here. The first thing to mention this morning is the albergue attached to the big fancy hotel in Villafranca. It has cemented its position as my number one albergue. Had a fantastic stay there yesterday. So it's cost me 15 euros for the bed, which is the same price I paid for that dog awful one the other day. And then I paid another 18 euros for a 3-course meal. So that was in the fancy restaurant last night. Choice of 5 starters, choice of 5 mains, all really beautiful, really good helpings. A bottle of wine on the table to myself. I didn't drink it all, I must admit. I wouldn't be here doing this morning if I had. And a bottle of water, a basket of bread. It was absolutely amazing, fantastic value. So basically for the equivalent of £30, I got a night's accommodation, 3-course meal, half a bottle of wine. I can't beat it. So today's the last big day of walking, a couple of peaks to get over, and then it's a long, gentle downhill into Burgos. Just about the height we're at and a little bit about this area. So we've climbed to 1,100 metres this morning, so it's pretty high up here. Yesterday, high up, we're surrounded by forests, and a large proportion of the trees have been oak trees so far. Some fir trees as well, obviously, but a high proportion of oak trees up here, which suggests to me it's quite an ancient forest up here. It takes a long time for those oak trees to grow, doesn't it? Some people have too much time on their hands, obviously, building arrows out of stones in the middle of the Camino. All going well this morning. I think I've just gone over the second of the 2 peaks this morning, so that's 1,100 metres above sea level, and I would call it more of a plateau than a peak, to be honest. So it's just a gentle downhill now by the looks of it. All going well. It seems really quiet on the Camino this morning. Not seen many pilgrims about. I suspect what it will have happened is because I've dropped back from one wave and I'm still ahead of the next wave of pilgrims, I'm sort of in that sort of quiet, slack in between the two waves of pilgrims that are stopping up those main stop-off points. But it makes for a nice, quiet, solitary walk today. So 12 kilometres on from Villafranca, finally made it to the next town, which is called Ortega, and I think I need a breakfast stop. I'm starving. Came over the tops this morning, hardly seen a soul, ready for a little break. Well, after a cold morning on the tops, it's like a totally different world down here now the sun's out. And it's set fair for the next few days, with the temperature getting into sort of the early 20s, so all is looking good. To a nice little village called Agues, Santiago, 518 kilometres. Some nice murals up here, if you can just hang on a second. This time. Very pleasant little bridge here with a field of sunflowers in the background, ready for harvest, I would say. The arrow. Now, I remember seeing something in the handbook about this chap, sort of prehistoric man type site around here. I must take more attention, really. Well, over 20 kilometres in now, but today's proving to be quite a tough day. Legs are hurt, legs are feeling heavy, terrain is quite rough, it's really hot, and this has been a long, steep drag up here, and still no end to it in sight either. Tough going. Oh my god, it's getting steeper. And how rough is this bit of path? Right, I'm going to knock the camera off and watch my ankles. I can see a cross. I'm hoping they wouldn't put a cross halfway up the hill. I'm hoping that's going to be the top. Yeah, looking good. Cross is there, it's levelling off from here. Oh, I'm glad that's over. That was blooming hard work, that. Just been chatting to the pilgrim you can see in front. I think he's heading looking for a beer. I might be following him. So all morning I've been hearing what sounds like gunfire, and I'm thinking, can that be gunfire? And then over there we've got some army personnel. I hope they're just doing an exercise, but sure, that's what it is. And I suppose that does explain all this strange barbed wire fencing. So it's a bit overkill for sheep. And there, as you come over the hill, that's the first sight of Burgos in the distance. Try and zoom in. So that's how we're heading tomorrow. Well, after a long, hard day, it's been really tough, nearly 26 kilometres. I think this is hopefully where I'm staying tonight. I stayed here last time and it was very nice, so I'll give it a try again. Day 13, 1st of October it is, and it's the final day of my current Camino as I make my way into Burgos. It's a very cold start, autumnal haze around, a little mist. I'm sure the sun will soon burn that off as it comes up. Just put the phone round so you can see behind me. It's a bit brighter behind me as the sun's trying to burn its rise and burn its way through this. It'll soon be here. So although it's still quite pretty here, today's route is not going to be the most breathtaking or eye-catching. It goes around the airport and then a long drag through the streets, industrial areas into Burgos. Having said that, there is a alternative route. I'm going to try and find that alternative route which takes us down the river and along parkland and riverside walks, so we'll see if we can find that. I've seen safer routes, if I'm honest. can literally see the light at the end of the runway. Well, I'm pretty confident I've missed the alternative route. I think the issue is the guidebook I've got is a little bit out of date and the route has moved slightly. So I'm still on the main route, which is fine, but I'm going to miss the alternative scenic route, which I'm a bit gutted about, to be honest. In the industrial area now, pretty grim, but the units go literally up into the sky, they're massive. Lovely statue thing here, very pleasant. Signage has not been brilliant this morning, so you've got to look for clues to check you're still on the right route. I think that's the biggest clue of all, the big way marker inside of that building. Getting there. Signage is seriously awful in Burgos, I have to say, but just when you've given up hope, another one of these pops up, so you know you're up on the right route. Only 2 kilometres from the cathedral now. Colourful chap that. And Burgos Cathedral is finally in sight. I recognise this bit, naturally shaded by the trees here. Very close to the cathedral now, almost there. Well, it's been a 15-kilometre walk into Burgos this morning, and I can honestly say the last 10 kilometres of that has been the most dull, dreary walk you can imagine. Around the airport, through the industrial area, and then through the city centre itself of Burgos. But now we're in the old town, and we've got the magnificent gate into the cathedral, and the cathedral just peeping over behind there, and all that sort of last 10 kilometres is forgotten about as we look towards this sort of magnificent end to my 2025 Camino. Just going to wander through the big arch gates here, and we'll hopefully have the cathedral through there to be viewed in all its splendour and magnificence. Nearly there. Looks like Del Boy set his market stall up at the bottom of it. So that doesn't detract from the magnificent cathedral behind there. So that pretty much brings to an end my Camino for this year. I send the videos home mainly for my own benefit, so it can act as memories, also for my family. So if anybody else has enjoyed them, thank you for watching. Cheers.